So one of the most amazing things about building my business has been building my business alongside of really amazing women. And Naza, I count among one of the most amazing of those. She is just a powerhouse, and Naza and I actually go back. So Naza and I went to law school together. We had completely different lives, completely different industries, and somehow both found ourselves in the tech space in DC. And this is such a small section, it's just a very small group of women, and so it's been amazing being able to build this business next to you.
100%, and we cannot go on without saying that we met at Howard
Yes.
University School of Law, HU, you know, and actually one of our mutual friends actually put us in touch with each other, and he was like, you should know Dawn, you should know Naza, and we just got together for breakfast.
We did.
And we're talking about our baby companies and how we were going to change the tech space in hair and dating. And, you know, fast forward, you know, a couple of years, and Dawn, you have raised and entered into this group, this tiny group of Black women who have raised, you know, at least $500,000 in institutional capital. And when I tell you all that this is an amazing accomplishment, I'm not exaggerating, right? Like, I'm almost underplaying how big of a deal it is to be in this group of women. And as we know, more and more Black women are the fastest growing group of entrepreneurs, opening businesses, starting companies, really trying to change our generational wealth story. And so I would love to know, from an entrepreneurial standpoint, you know, what tips or pieces of advice or words, nuggets of wisdom can you give to women, Black women specifically, but all women actually, that are starting their businesses and getting their dreams off the ground, many of which will need outside funding to really fuel their visions?
Yeah, look, fundraising is hard, and it's hard for everyone. And I'm speaking to Black women here, but I think that this applies to all women. When you pick your business, when you pick your vertical, pick something that you know in and out. We already know that we are going to be grilled. We're going to get more scrutiny. The bar is going to be higher for us. So really pick something where you have deep expertise and where you have a very differentiated point of view. And then, you know, my next point of advice would just be to go into every room understanding that you are the expert, knowing that you are the expert, and don't be afraid to direct that conversation. You're always going to be in spaces where people maybe talk over you, maybe don't give you the deference, maybe don't give you the credence that you deserve. But you have to be willing to take that power and really make sure that you control the narrative and control the conversation.
That's so powerful. And, you know, I would love to hear just a little bit about, and I hope you don't mind me bringing this up, but, you know, you actually started your business with a significant other, someone that you were dating, right? And so that kind of plays a little bit into your story. And as someone who's always interested in like dating journeys, you know, how do you feel, or what impact do you think starting a business, you know, where obviously you're at the helm of that business, but you're supported by, you know, someone who you were in a relationship with? Yeah,
well, let me give you the tea. Not only did I start that business with that significant other, I am still running that business with that person, even though we are no longer together. But I'll tell you that when you start a business with somebody, it can't just be about your relationship, right? If you're going to start a business with someone, it has to be because they are also passionate about that concept. It has to be because they also see the potential ROI that they're going to get when they perform.
That's return on investment, y'all.
That's right. That's right. And so, you know, things have worked out really well, at least on the business side.
We got you, girl. We got you, girl, on the love side. Don't worry.
Right.
This is the type of woman you can find on CarpeDM.
I'm not worried. I'm not worried. But, you know, it's worked out precisely because we're both committed to this business in a way that's just very unique, right? As you know, when you have a startup, when you have a small business that you're building from the ground up, you have to put your entire body into that. And regardless of what's going on that relationship front, we do that every single day.
You are speaking the truth. It takes everything in you and out of you to really make a business successful. So kudos on all the success that Most is having and that you are going to continue to have. But I have another question, and it really is going back to, our conversation. We're talking about texturism and colorism and really as it impacts dating and business, right? So, in many aspects, you would be considered in Black culture maybe one of good Black, right? Like considering you have the right type of hair texture, you have the right type of skin tone, right? To kind of enter into certain spaces. Yeah. And I'm just really curious what impact has, the way that you look, the type of hair that you have, your skin colorism had one on you in business, but also the impact that it's had on you in dating.
Yes. I love that you asked this question because it's so important for us to address the monster in the room. And this is one of the monsters for us. And I can tell you in my business at the Most, we focus on textured hair. And how do you focus on textured hair if I can't be the only person in front of the camera with my texture of hair? There are plenty of women with finer, curlier, whatever textured hair. But this texture, I think, as you alluded to, it falls into some kind of, gradient that gets just a little bit more preference. And so my approach to that has been to put that issue at the forefront. So for example, if you go to our Instagram, we have a rule that at any given time, 70% of the people on our feed have to be darker skinned women or type 4 hair. And that's hard to do, right? It's hard to make sure that everyone in the diaspora is reflected in all the imagery that we put out. It's very difficult to make sure that everybody feels seen, but we've tried to, just get in front of this issue and make sure that the representation is there. So it's something that I carry with me into all of these meetings. It's something that I carry with me into all of our kind of press and the way that we present ourselves. We want to make sure that we're putting Black women in all of their textures and colors and things and aesthetics. We want to make sure that everyone gets representation on our platform.
That's so important, and something that we care about also so much at CarpeDM, which is another reason why our partnership just makes so much sense, because you can also see that when it comes to who has more trouble dating, right? Like, is it, the women with the 4C kinky coily hair and dark skin, or is it the light skinned Black women, right, that like you feel like a lot of times are the ones that are chosen, right, to be on the arms. I saw a reel not too long ago, which was a beautiful darker skinned woman was talking about not being let into like a party that Chris Brown was throwing, and like only they would only let in light skinned women into the party or into his like VIP section. And you hear these stories all the time, right? But then I also feel like in many different instances, you have companies, brands that are really creating space for all different types of women. And we, right, have the power to put our influence, our time, and our energy behind, celebrities, brands that support us, right? So that are reflective of us. And in order to do that, when we go to the social media, when we really delve into their mission and what they're about, we want to see that it's not tokenism and it's not placation. It's like at the root and heart of what their brand is about. And that's why for us at CarpeDM, we have a mission that's threefold: to elevate Black women, all Black women, to help build generational wealth through the creation of strong, stable relationships and families. Beautiful. And to give Black. We call it giving Black because we give 5% of all the revenue we generate to organizations doing amazing work in the Black community. Because we know that it's not just what we say, right? It's actually what we do and people feel. That's right. Like whether or not you're coming from an authentic place, whether or not, your brand is authentically, coming at, Black women, or if it's a money grab, right? Is this a money grab, or do you really care about, helping Black women find love? Like, we're so passionate about that at CarpeDM. Our team talks about it all the time. Like that first CarpeDM wedding, that first CarpeDM baby, that is going to come from our efforts, or that generational wealth that's going to be created because we are forming these strong relationships, which is so important to us. Yes.
And can I just piggyback by saying that when we walk into these spaces, as we build our businesses, whatever we do, when you're at that law firm, when you're working in that hospital, we have to remember that we hold the power. right? We often feel disempowered, and there are a million ways in which we are disempowered. But the fact of the matter is, we control the narrative. We set the trends, right? So let's not forget that when we make it a priority to make sure that other Black women are supported and taken care of, the market has no choice but to follow. Just like Beyonce does when she goes into a meeting, when she goes into a photo shoot, she makes sure that those artists are Black artists. We can do the same thing. We can write those terms into our agreements. We can make sure that our social media, our presentation values Black women in a way the rest of the market does not, right? If they're not gonna do it, we're gonna do it. And as it always does, the market will follow.
100%, yes, the market will follow.
They do.